And allow yourself to find a posture that you can sit in that's balanced and strong. Not rigid, not forced. But balanced from front to back, from left to right. And a position in which your breath can flow freely. And allow yourself to draw the awareness into your breath. Really deliberately feel yourself pull the awareness from all of the places it's scattered around you. Sounds, sensations, thoughts of yesterday and tomorrow. Pull that awareness inward. And allow it to anchor in your breath. And allow the awareness of that breath to drop low in your abdomen. Most of us breathe from high in our chest, from our sternum, our rib cage, upper parts of our lungs. But allow the awareness of that breath to drop deeply, low in your abdomen, to a very powerful energy center called the Swadhisthana chakra. And it's just about 2 inches below your belly button. Allow the inhalations to come from there. And as you inhale, feel the petals of the lotus flower. Because the chakra, the energy center, is a lotus flower. And so feel the petals of that flower open. And as you exhale, feel yourself dropping down into the very core of your being. If you get distracted by sounds, sensations, or thoughts, just draw the awareness back. Don't let some passing stimulus grab your attention. Just keep bringing the awareness back to the breath. On the next inhalation, as you inhale, allow the breath to rise upward through you. So it begins low in the abdomen at the Swadhisthana chakra. And then allow it to rise through you. through the solar plexus, through the rib cage and lungs, through the throat, and all the way up to the Agya chakra, that third eye energy center. And if you can't carry the breath all the way up on one smooth and unbroken inhalation, don't worry. Just carry the breath as high as you can, smoothly and easily. This isn't pranayama. And then from wherever you can bring it to, allow it to drop back down to the Swadhisthana chakra. But even if you can't carry it all the way to the third eye center, still allow your intention. Allow the mind sight to be focused on this third eye center that draws the breath up higher and higher and higher. Rising higher and higher on the inhalations and dropping deeper and deeper into the core of yourself on the exhalations. Slowly and gently, bring the palms of your hands together at chest level in Namaste. And gently rub the palms of your hands against each other. Press the palms of your hands into your closed eyes. Slowly lower your hands and open your eyes. Welcome to Satsang. If you are looking to begin a spiritual practice, this is a really good meditation to work with. It's very easy to access within us. This center. And even if you can't, as I said, carry the breath up immediately, don't worry. Just keep practicing slowly, it'll happen. But wherever you can bring it to, it's carrying the energy up through the energetic body, up through the being. And it's a really, really beautiful meditation to work with, because even before you get it 100% right, it's still really powerful energetically. So if you don't already have a practice that works really well for you, that you're engaged in, this might be a beautiful one to begin with. It takes enough of our attention that for those of us whose attention tends to wander very quickly, it's a very specific task also. So it allows the awareness to anchor in it quite nicely. And you can add the beautiful mantra of so hum to it. So on the inhalations and hum on the exhalations. If you find that your mind is still wandering, it'll just give it yet another anchor. And it doesn't have to be so hum. It can be om. It can really be anything. But a syllable on the inhalations, a syllable on the exhalations. Yeah, so it's a beautiful practice to use and work with. So we start satsang as always with one of the questions from our beautiful family joining us online from around the world. And then we'll open it up to everyone here. There's a microphone right here, so anyone who has a question, just come and share your name and where you're from and your question. My friend fears that wealth will corrupt him and make him arrogant, as he has seen in some of his relatives. He believes that money can lead to pride and loss of values. How can one cultivate a mindset where money is seen as a tool for good without letting it affect their humility or integrity? This is asked by Ritu Mantri. It's a great question. I've seen firsthand over and over and over again, and I imagine that many of you have as well, the very simple truth that money does not buy happiness. And that very frequently, a lot of money coexists with unhappiness. It doesn't cause it. You can be fabulously wealthy and fabulously happy and peaceful as well. The dilemma arises in what your focus is on. And a lot of people become fabulously wealthy because they have taken all of their time and attention and focus and put it only on making money. And the dilemma with that is that I don't think about it so much as corruption. People will use any excuse to be arrogant. I mean, the ego is much more flexible than requiring actually a very big bank account or paycheck to be arrogant or to grab you in its claws. So what I have seen is actually it's a lot deeper than that. And what it leads to is a sense of personal dissatisfaction, because if we're spending, we've all only got 24 hours in a day. We have to sleep. We have to eat. We have to bathe. Hopefully we also dedicate time to being with our family. We dedicate time, hopefully, to some kind of physical exercise to keep the body well. We then have very little time left over. And if I've chosen to spend all of that time also focused on building my wealth, then guess what I'm not doing? I'm not meditating. I'm not praying. I'm not doing seva, volunteer work. I'm not spending time in nature. I'm not cultivating deep connections and relationships because I'm so focused on getting money. And so it tends to lead to an inner dissatisfaction. But of course, since I'm the one who's made this decision, I never want to feel like, it's my fault I'm dissatisfied. And so we become arrogant. It's kind of a defense mechanism. It's like, if I can prove to you that I'm so much better than you are, then I don't have to look at actually how miserable I feel. I don't have to look at actually like how much happier I would be. Several years ago, I was driving from an event in Haridwar, in this beautiful campus that Swami Ramdevji Maharaj and Acharya Balkrishnji Maharaj had set up, called Yogram, out in like the village area of Haridwar. And I was at an event there, and I was driving back here from there. And the first part of the drive is really through village India. You're driving through and you're seeing people lying out in front of their homes on cots, like fast asleep, literally on a cot basically in the middle of a road. Hanging out, kids are playing ball. It's to me the epitome of actually healthy, balanced life. People are out in the streets, they're talking to each other. It's a village, it's a neighborhood, and everybody seemed really happy and engaged in something or other. And then you take one turn, and you enter the industrial area of Haridwar, the Sidkul area. One turn, and suddenly dirt roads become asphalt, and little villages become, essentially it could have been a big city anywhere in the world. People are dressed primarily in Western clothes. Everybody's got briefcases, hustling, bustling across the street. And it was such a sharp distinction in my eyes. It literally was one right turn off of this road onto this road. And I thought, I bet none of these people can go to sleep at night without some kind of pill. And yet all these people are able to take a nap in the middle of the day in the middle of the road. And yet we call this developed and this backwards. These kids are playing ball in the street. These kids are contemplating suicide because they got a B on a math exam and they're terrified of disappointing the family. What is development? And it stuck with me so deeply. I actually ended up coming back and writing an article for the Times of India on it, because I was so impacted by this dichotomy between what we're supposed to want, which is this money, this development, and yet the sense of dis-ease in that world compared to the more traditional world that we look at and we think it's undeveloped, it's backwards. And yet, on every level of mental health, of happiness, of community, of family, of all of this, they're the developed ones. So I mention this because when people forsake values that really are valuable for what we were talking about the other night as junk values, it leads to a sense of depression inside. And when we are depressed, but we don't want to face it or acknowledge it, arrogance is one of the defense mechanisms for it. And so, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that her friend has seen family members with lots of money seem arrogant. But money itself doesn't corrupt. What corrupts is our focus on money to the exclusion of all else. The example that I always think about with this is Bhagwan Krishna was king of Dwarka, a city made of gold. Dwarka was heaven. Everybody wanted to live there. Lanka, ruled over by the demon king Ravan, was also a city made of gold. But nobody wanted to live there. It's essentially a metaphor for hell. Both of them are cities made of gold. So it's not the gold that's either the problem or the solution. The gold did not make Dwarka heaven or Lanka hell. The difference was who's in charge. And so instead of focusing on how much money, focus on who's in charge, who's running my life. Am I bowing to King Bhagwan Krishna? Or am I bowing to King Ravan? And that's what's going to determine our inner state, not whether my walls are made with gold or mud. So as long as you can focus on that, and if the universe happens to send money your way through the type of work that you do, no problem, wonderful. It means you're meant to spend it on others. It means that you're meant to use it for good. Whatever we're given, we're meant to use for good. Do you have a gorgeous singing voice? You're obviously meant to sing. Are you a beautiful artist? You're obviously meant to create art. Whatever we have, we're meant to share it. And so if what you have is money, okay, that's what you're meant to share. Are you a great cook? You're obviously meant to cook for people. Whatever we have, it's given to us to use. So if one of those things happens to be money, great, use it. And if it doesn't happen to be money, then it means that you're meant to share other things. But either way, that's not meant to be the deciding factor around happiness or success. So, yeah, don't fear money or run away from it, because then, of course, it's got just as much control over you as if you're running toward it. We speak about rag and dvesh, desires and aversions, as, they're interlinked and interlocked. So desiring money is just as damaging to the brain as pushing money away. Either way, money is running our life. Do your dharma. Share your skills. If the money arrives, wonderful. Share it. If it doesn't, share something else. But don't let it be that deciding factor in your life, either of desire or of aversion. Yeah, great question. Any other questions that anyone here has? Yes. And you're perfectly placed right next to the mic.
Satnam.
Satnam.
My name is Trashi, and I'm from Arunachal Pradesh, northeast part of India. And I'm having the yoga teacher training in Rishikesh with Guru Mukh. And my question is, can you tell me the way to become a good teacher? Please.
Beautiful, beautiful. We can only share with others what we have inside of us. These days, particularly with the internet, people can get teachings everywhere. You want to learn from the very best teachers, anything in the world, from math and physics to yoga and everything in between. You can learn it all online. You can get it for free on YouTube. Most of them also have other platforms. You pay, you get courses or whatnot. And so if you're going to be a teacher, you have to ask yourself, what can I bring to students that is different from what they would get simply watching somebody else on YouTube. And that's going to come from your unique gifts. There may have been a day before we had the internet where all you had to do was kind of memorize what your teacher told you, learn their way of teaching, and then go out and kind of repeat their lines and their words and their style as much as you could as a teacher. But these days, there's no point of that because people can get it directly from them online. Now the opportunity that you have and the invitation that you have is not to just mimic someone else, but to find your own inner light. And that's what's going to make you a good teacher. Whatever you have deeply is what you're going to be able to share. So as you're doing the teacher's training, instead of having the mind be stressed around, oh, I have to memorize this or memorize that, let yourself really sink into the teachings. Let it transform you. Gurmukh became a brilliant teacher because she was transformed by Yogi Bhajan and the teachings that he gave. It wasn't that she went in thinking, oh, let me memorize everything he says because then I'm going to go out and teach it. First, she was transformed and taught. And then from her state of transformation, she shared that. It's like a candle can only light another candle if it's actually lit. If you're a candle that's not lit, you can't light anybody else. So use your teacher's training to focus on actually getting lit. And then once you're lit, your flame may be different. I hope your flame is different from everybody's flame. That's what we need. Because the bigger a variety of teachers we have, the more likely it is that everyone will start doing yoga. Otherwise, if we only have a few teachers, then people look and they say, oh, I can never be like that. I can never be like that. Forget it. Yoga's not for me. But when we start having teachers of every shape, every size, every age, every gender, every physical ability, every race, every religion, then suddenly all of the people of the world realize, oh, I can do yoga. Because see, that person's doing yoga, and I look like that. Or I'm that age. Or, oh yeah, that's the religion I come from. If they're doing it, I can too. So your role as a student is to just soak up the teachings fully. Don't worry about how you're going to go out and teach. Let the training light you up. And when you're lit, anything you touch, you're going to light them anyway. The teaching will come very naturally. It's like, if I stick just a little more water in here, it's almost up at the rim, but if I pour just a little bit more, it would come so close to the top and then it would start to overflow. It couldn't help doing that. The more you pour in, the more it's going to overflow and spill out. The more you soak up, automatically you're just going to start oozing it. And then you won't be able to help but teach. Okay? Good. Give her a big hug for me too. Yeah.
So, thank you so much. I'm very satisfied with your answer, and I will try my best, and thank you so much.
Of course, of course. Give Gurmukh a hug for me too, okay? Thank you. Other questions? Yes.
Oh, my humblest pranam at the holy feet of Sadhviji. Sadhviji A very good question I had, because I'm also a principal, a teacher. So the question, having heard this question, I thought I could, if you permit, I could share some experience.
Can we wait on that if it's okay, and actually see if we have any other questions, and then we can take additional thoughts as well, if that's okay with you. I just know that there's people who come in and who just wait to be able to ask their questions, so I want to be able to honor that, and then we will hear your additional thoughts as well.
Okay.
Wonderful. Sure. Are there any questions that anyone else has? Yes, come.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
First of all, I would like to wholeheartedly thank you for the wonderful opportunity that Parmarth Niketan gave us on behalf of the whole group. We are a part of the Foundation Yoga course.
Wonderful.
And I must admit that it has been spectacular, and it had everything and more than what we were expecting. Now, I have a couple of questions. When I came here, I had, a lot of baggages, in the sense that there were many thoughts, a lot of irritation, anger, frustration. And a couple of days ago, I sat at the ghat of Gangama, and I was really surprised to see that, I wanted to contemplate on the issues that were there when I came. And I was really surprised to observe that, there was absolutely no thoughts in my mind, no irritation, no frustration. I mean, I couldn't actually contemplate on anything.
Beautiful.
So that was really shocking for me. Now my question is, I'll be leaving tomorrow for Diwali. So I'm really worried, the kind of frame I am in right now, what will happen to that once I go back to the same environment? I have a family, I have a business.
Yeah.
Life has been really, I have been very fortunate in all aspects. And so that is one question, how to, to put it another way, to how to handle the attachment of your loved ones. Because what happens is that, at one stage of life, you are on a similar frequency. But with the passage of times, everyone starts growing in a different way.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't get that avenue to actually explore your individuality. But since now, once you have fulfilled most of your responsibilities, you start exploring other aspects of life. Now the question is that, you have started growing spiritually, whereas your partner or your core family
Has
members,
not. Yes.
they are still in the same, whatever. I mean, they have their own way of living. And I also feel that in a way, their expectations are legitimate. They are reasonable, because there was a time when you were fulfilling those expectations happily. You were performing for them whenever they wanted. And the same thing happens in your social circle. When just go outside the inner core, the same thing happens. With lot of efforts, I am able to overcome the social obligations. Eventually, you draw a line, enough is enough. As you mentioned today also, the happy hours.
Yes.
It was not making happy and bringing a lot of hangovers. And it was also disturbing my, life. So that is one question, how to handle the, attachment.
I got it. Great. Let's take that first, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, okay.
This is something that happens, I would say, to all of us, but otherwise almost all of us. Certainly most people, when they embark on a spiritual path, is who we are changes. And it changes for the better. It changes for the deeper. But all of those people who were connected to and attached to us being a certain way, it's hard. I mean, when something like Arati starts being your evening happy hour, well, everybody you used to go to the bar with is like, what happened to you? Come on. And you say, no, I've got a different happy hour now. And they get upset. Now, this is one of the reasons why I tell everyone when they come here, when you go back, inevitably, there will be habits, actions, patterns, even relationships that no longer fit. If we went away on a diet camp, we would expect to come back and our old clothes not fit us anymore. I mean, otherwise, what would be the point of going and spending a week or 2 weeks or a month in some detox program if you didn't actually lose weight? So we understand that the clothes that I used to wear, many of them are not going to fit anymore. And even if they were, my favorite pair of jeans, ultimately it's better that they don't fit anymore because now I'm healthier. But the same thing is true relationship-wise. There are some relationships that were based entirely on certain patterns, certain habits, certain activities, certain ways of seeing the world. And that isn't who you are anymore. You've essentially spiritually detoxed from that. Now you have different patterns, different habits, different ways. And not every relationship is going to be up to the change. It's like some of the clothes in your closet, it's easy. You take them to the tailor and they'll adjust them. But every once in a while, there's going to be something that the tailor just says, look, I can't do it. It's not going to work with this. Okay. But it's worth it. That's something you're going to have to be prepared for. There will be people, there will be relationships who are attached to you being a certain way that is no longer the way that you are. But you also have to have compassion for them. We can become very spiritually arrogant. And you want to make sure that your spirituality teaches you not just about, standing tall, but actually about bending down low. Yoga is, in Tadasana we learn to stand straight. And then in Uttanasana we learn how to bend. And if you've done a good yoga class, you get both. It's not just how tall can I stand, but it's how far can I bend? How deeply can I bend? So make sure that there's compassion and understanding. It's not that you're somehow better now than they are. You're just different. With regard to family, though, obviously you're not going to go and just exchange your family like a pair of jeans. So that's going to require somewhat more subtlety. It requires a foundation and a base of compassion. They are attached to life being a certain way. They have expectations about dad, about husband, to be a certain way. As you change, you need to share with them, hey, look, here's why I'm not like that anymore. Be open, be honest. You've had a transformation. Those things that they expect of you used to be what you gave them. Now something has made you shift. Share it with them. Not in a way that makes them feel lower and you seem higher, but in a way that brings them into your heart. Here's the change I've had. Here's why I no longer want this, but I want that. Here's why I no longer focus on this, but I focus on that. And I'll tell you the big secret. Ultimately, your peace and your happiness is the greatest gift that you can give them. Because when you're in peace and you're happy, You're much nicer. People who are happy just in general are nicer people than people who are not happy. As you stay on your spiritual path, you are actually doing a service for them because your anchoring, your grounding, your happiness is going to make you a much better husband and father. But it's going to take a little bit of readjustment time for them, and that's okay. Just share with them, be open, be honest. Hey, I've changed. And I'm so excited about these changes, and I hope you'll be excited about them. And you can even turn to them and say, look, I want your help. Again, imagine that you just came back from diet camp. And, your wife always makes, gulab jamuns at the end of dinner. Instead of this sort of spiritual arrogance of like, I don't eat gulab jamuns anymore. Instead, say to her, hey, I used to love those gulab jamuns so much. Now I've, done all of this to stop eating junk food. I would just love it so much if maybe you could stop trying to put gulab jamuns in front of me because it's so hard to resist them. Your gulab jamuns are the best gulab jamuns in the whole world, and every time you offer them to me, I just want to eat them, but I'm really trying to stay at this new healthy weight. So can you help me? And if you say it to them like that, on a spiritual level, obviously, we're talking about a spiritual change, not a dietary one, but say it to them. I know we used to go out to the clubs or the bars or this or whatever it was, but I'm really trying now to have deeper spiritual values. I'd love your help. Let us think as a family together about things that we can do together rather than shop. Or rather than go out for hamburgers, or rather than, go to a movie that's just filled with violence and hatred or, whatever. Let's think about things we can do. Bring them in so that it doesn't feel like you've come back as a stranger. Yeah, and bring them next time. If not for the course, just, really, otherwise it's like, oh my God, what happened to Dad? Bring them.
Yeah, I will
Just
try.
for a day or two, a holiday, whatever it is, but let them see. I know it made all of the difference in the world for my parents when they finally came here and they realized, oh, she hasn't been brainwashed, she hasn't joined a cult, she hasn't, and then they loved it. I'll never forget when, after my parents had been here for the first time and fell in love with it, after thinking, of course, I had been, kidnapped and brainwashed and whatnot. And I shared with them about a trip that I had taken with Pujya Swamiji to South Africa, where at the Divine Life Society in Durban, South Africa, the Swamiji who used to head it, he has since passed away, but the Swamiji who used to head it had an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And every time people came back from India, they would bring bottles of water from Ganga, and they would pour the water into the swimming pool. And as per the sort of spiritual homeopathic effect, he decided that now made their swimming pool Ganga. It was like a drop of Ganga in it turned the swimming pool into Ganga. And every night they had Ganga Arti. They had little girls, little African girls standing with little Indian girls doing arti to the swimming pool every night. And when I mentioned that to my mom, the next time that Swamiji was in LA, she asked him whether if we brought some Ganga water from here, would he do arti over the jacuzzi? And you think, that's a huge change to go from, oh my God, my kid's been brainwashed, to, do you think you would stand in our backyard and do arti to the jacuzzi? It's a shift. So give them time. They'll also most likely come around. It just takes time.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Of course. Beautiful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. A beautiful morning and day to our family joining from all over the world. And I look so forward to being together with you all tomorrow.